Hello friends and happy Capesmas! Today we're going to be assembling a PDF sewing pattern. I do this a lot, so I'm going to give you all of my secrets to do it quicker and easier. I do this a lot, so I'm going to give you all of my tips and tricks to get it done quicker and easier, as well as how to do it in a smaller working space, because I know that space is a bit of an issue for some people whenever it comes to putting together these giant paper patterns. Anyways, let's get taping! One quick note, whenever you print out the PDF files, you're going to want to make sure that you're printing them out without any added margins and at 100%. Always start your prints by printing just the first page and measuring the 1 inch by 1 inch box and making sure that it lines up. If something's wrong with the box, then something is wrong with the print. But thankfully this box is just fine. So let's continue on. Now, you're going to want to trim your margins. I like to trim just the margins on the left and the bottom side, because then I can glue them or tape them down to the margins on the next and bottom pieces. As I'm sure you already know, you're going to want to line up your pattern panels, making sure that all the registration marks are connected and all of the lines are lined up perfectly. I like to use masking tape to attach my pieces because I can pick it up and move it. You might want to move your masking tape if it were, for example, not actually holding a pattern piece that was going to be cut out and used together, but was instead holding the blank margins together. And that's not very useful, so I prefer to tape my actual pattern together. Now, like I said, I like to do rows at a time, but what I will sometimes do is make sure that I'm putting together pattern pieces and cut them out as I'm assembling, if I have a very small table, for example. This is really easy to do if you have an image example of what your pattern should look like once all of the pieces are put together. But here I am placing more tape on the next row and getting ready to connect the two rows. This is really just a matter of making sure that all of the lines are lined up as cleanly as possible, and of course making sure that the registration marks are touching as well, and paying special attention to four-way corners, which I always like to tape down for stability's sake. Now over here you can see that the registration marks are way off, so what I'm going to be doing is untaping in a couple of sections and relaying everything out in this section. That's another reason why I like to use masking tape, because tiny errors that you make over the whole process can add up over time and wind up resulting in a huge inaccuracy in your pattern. But those are really easy to smooth out just by undoing the tape, smoothing everything around, and then redoing the tape in a moment. But remember before, whenever I mentioned having too little space to really do this? Well, here you can see my pattern pieces hanging over the edge of my table. And here you can even see me holding down a piece with my elbow so that I can tape it with one hand. And now what I'm going to do is cut out this large pattern piece and then continue assembling my PDF pattern. Another thing that I really like to do is tape from the back in long strips to give more stability to my pattern. Sometimes whenever I have a PDF pattern in storage, it will literally just come apart, and that doesn't make for a very fun sewing experience. And now you're truly unstoppable. I won't lie, I do eventually want to sell paper prints of my patterns, like in physical copy, but I'm just not there yet. But I will be soon. I also plan on making projector files in the future so that you can just pull a Morgan Donner and like project the pattern right onto your surface. No mock-up, no paper, just raw power. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. You're the ones that keep this show running. And all of this is because of your support. Not the house, but like the cape and the desk probably, and that microphone. Anyways, bye friends!